My name is Eddie C, and welcome to my positive podcast. I'll bring you positive stories of people from all walks of life, because everyone has a story to tell. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to MPP, my positive podcast. I'm your host, Eddie C, and I'm glad that you're listening to this show and you've been following some of the other shows. And once again, thanks to all the subscribers that tune in on each show. It's been a while since I've done one. That's one of the main reasons is because I've been very busy with some other activities. And the whole idea of the show is to keep it positive, not only for you, but for me. So I take a little bit more time, but like I said before, the interviews are going to be longer and you'll get to know more about my guests. Speaking of which, I have 3 wonderful guests this week again. My first guest is a entertainer. She's performing now in Tenerife and has traveled through the States. My second guest is a guy that actually looked up to me when he was in school as sort of a protege, a musician, and it was inspired by a workshop I did. So I feel very honored to have him on the show. And my third guest is a very special lady. She's the wife of a dear friend of mine and colleague that I've toured with many years ago in the jazz scene. So if you're interested in their stories, stay tuned and stay positive. My name is Eddie C, and you're listening to my positive podcast. Well, ladies and gentlemen, my first guest on the show is Samantha Tel. How you doing, Samantha?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you.
Great. Now, I know that basically you're a dancer, performer, and actress, but you want to tell my audience a little bit more about yourself, your roots, and, what you've been doing over the years, because it's actually been quite a while since we had contact.
It's true. That's true. Okay, so I'm coming from the Netherlands. I was born in Zeeland. But then my parents moved back to the area of Amsterdam. This is where I grew up. And I've always been a really creative kid. Ever since I've always been dancing. I was 5. I started with classic ballet. And when I was 6, I discovered ABBA. And I always wanted to be Agneta, which I kind of am now, but we get into that later. And I loved Fame, the show Fame, and Grease. I drove my whole family crazy because I always made shows, and I was Olivia Newton-John, So I was a very creative kid. And then also as a teenager, I didn't really like school. I just wanted to dance, sing, and act. That was what I want to do. But when I was 17, I think I had this big group of friends, and they were really into soul singing, and they were really, really good. So I also started to sing, and I remember the first time I performed for a big group of people was with a friend of mine, a really good singer. And I was singing the same song that you sing, Baby Come to Me. And I was so nervous. I think I really squeezed the hand of the friend of mine because he was holding my hand, And when after like high school in Holland, you call it's like, I think this is how you can explain it in English. I wanted to go to the School of Performing Arts, but I was too young. So I first did the MAO, which is like Middle Economic Administrative Education, which was like for a creative person, really, really like boring, but I did it. But next to it, I went to the Afro. It had a department. The Afro is like a Dutch television channel.
Yeah, right. One of the networks.
Yes. And it had like for people from 15 till 25, a department to learn everything about TV, radio, dancing classes, acting classes. So this was for me heaven.
All right.
So that was like my background when I grew up. All I wanted to do was singing, dancing, acting,
Oh, wow. And your parents have been behind you the whole time. They backed you up with your dream?
My parents are lovely. They're not really creative, although my I think I have some from both of them, because my father now he's retired, but he was a teacher in sports in school.
Right.
But he was always very funny when he was teaching. And even you lived in Holland. I teach him some song of love. That was the song, like Casanova, such a Casanova.
Oh yeah, the group, the three ladies. Yes, yeah. I remember them. I played on some of their records, so.
Okay, so and I teach the whole choreography and everything, and he performed it with a colleague on school. So I think I have a little bit of that from my dad. And my mom, she just loves music. She loves musicals and everything. So we went a lot to the theater because my mom loved that. So even though it was not their profession, they always did support me. But they didn't really think like, you can make money of that. It's a nice hobby, but you have to have a serious job.
A backup plan. You have to have a backup plan.
Yeah.
That's what my father always used to tell me.
Yeah.
You have to have a backup plan.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I still believe that when you have that talent, the raw talent, and you work on it and you develop it, and you surround yourself with the right people to help you develop your talent, you can get pretty far. A lot of things have changed now in the business because of the social media that we have nowadays. Because if you go back some years before we had all of the, the smartphones and the computer recordings and the streaming, it was a hard business, because in order to get noticed on television, you had to first work and get people to see you live. And then when you became more popular, that's when you got on television. But it seems to have had a complete flip side, because nowadays people go on television to become popular, and then they go into the country to perform. And a lot of times they discover the real world is not the same as it was on television.
That's so true. I totally agree with you. Yeah. And I think nowadays also with YouTube and, Facebook, what you said, it's very easy to put yourself out there and to be seen. And I grew up like in the 80s, 80s, 90s. And then, you had to go to auditions and to let people see you and everything. Well, you still have to go to auditions, but it's now easier. You can start your YouTube channel and whatever, So yeah, this is true.
So you started to do your whole acting career and your singing career when you went to the network to work for them, so that they gave you your basis to work from. But you also mentioned to me that you went to the States for a while. Can you tell us something about that?
Yes, after the Mayo, when I finished, I'm a traveler, and I was like, okay, now I have to leave. And I heard about this thing being au pair. And till 26 years old, you would get a visa to go to the United States. So I went there as an au pair. And I remember the first 4 days we had like this orientation in New York City. And our hotel was like one street behind Broadway. So I remember that was my first experience of the United States. I landed on Kennedy Airport, I think it was. And then I was on Broadway, and it was such an amazing experience. And then I was almost 1 year there, and I took a lot of dance classes. And I loved it. It was heaven for me. I loved America. And then a few years later, I went again to Chicago, but then it was not such a good experience as an au pair again. But it gave me some good things, because I had my first camera acting classes and I loved it. I was like, this is what I want to do.
All right.
And then in 2009, I went to Los Angeles. But what inspired me was I started to do hip hop classes. I was always a dancer, but I started to do hip hop and street dance in the beginning of 2000, because a friend of mine, he used to be background dancer of Tony Scott and King B. And he started a street dance school. And he took me then one day to the National Hip Hop Street Dance Championship of the Netherlands. And I remember there was one choreographer, but I was not from the hip hop world, so I had no idea, who was who. And there was this guy who had the same name as you. It was Eddie Morales. And he was background dancer of Justin Timberlake and Mariah Carey and a lot of, other.
A lot of well-known American artists, yeah. Okay.
And kind of like, I was not a freestyler, but in the end of the class, he went doing like the freestyling. And I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not hip, and I'm not a freestyler. And I did in the end. And it was such a spiritual experience. It was so liberated, and he was so cool. And later we talked and he said, oh, you should, if you love this class, you should take classes of Marty Kudelka, who is the choreographer of Justin Timberlake. And then I started to take a lot of dance classes in Moves, who did a lot of the choreographers did a lot of television programs, the dancing and everything. But they took all the choreographers of America for workshops, and that inspired me. Like, I want to go to LA. I had no idea how, but I was like, I want to go there. So I had dancing classes from Kenny Wormald, who did a remake of Footloose, the actor, and a lot of the dances of Justin Timberlake. And then I want to go to LA. And then I had this opportunity because my aunt wanted to come to Holland, and she went in my house. It was like the movie The Holiday. And I went to Los Angeles in her house, and I went to take all these dance classes in like Millennium and Debbie Reynolds, where all the big artists also dance. And it was for me like a dream come true. So I was like,
sure,
an average dancer between the most amazing dancers of the world. But I didn't care. I was like, I'm here. I'm in Los Angeles. And then when I was in Los Angeles, I also somehow bumped into this open day for actors. And then I went there and I met some casting directors also. And I met this woman who gave acting classes, and she was really, really, really good. So this was for me an amazing experience in Los Angeles. And every day something happened. I think because my mind was like, what kind of exciting thing is going to happen today? So in one day I went to have some lunch in Malibu because I love Malibu. I just love to drive there. And I met a really friendly guy who was sitting next to me. We were talking about life and music. And then at one moment I said, oh, have you ever been to Amsterdam? And he said, like, yeah, I've been touring. I said, oh, are you in a band or something? He said, yeah, I don't know if you know the band Chicago, but I'm the drummer of the band Chicago. So this was Tristan.
All right.
And I'm still in contact with him because he's such a lovely, down-to-earth guy. So this was my experience in LA. It was like I was in the flow. I was so much in the flow. Also visiting sitcoms because I always wanted to. I was a big Friends fan, so I ended up visiting sitcoms, and this also was for me a great experience how they filmed it.
Right.
So yes, this was my experience in America, and I love Los Angeles. I just really, really love it.
Well, okay, so you were in Los Angeles, but you mentioned also at one point that you went to Virginia, which is the state I was born in fact. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, it was my first experience in such a big country. I think Virginia is beautiful. It's really green. But yeah, it was like really warm in the summer and it was really cold in the winter. But I think it was beautiful. It was really, really beautiful. And I was really with a really nice family. I'm still in contact with them. They're actually now in Alaska.
Oh, wow. That's a whole different place. Yes.
And I've also the boys, they're now big boys, you know, and it's really nice because they were so young. They were like a baby and a 1-year-old, and now they're all growing up and they're really nice boys. And the man, he was like a pilot, but he would like buy airplanes from Europe or whatever, little airplanes, and then he would fly them.
Okay.
You know, so one day we went to visit. This was a great experience also for me. To his family in North Carolina. So we went with this little airplane. I had one kid on one side and one kid on the other side between, you know, on the back. But it was such a beautiful experience because the sun was going down. And when we landed, you know, because normally in a plane, you don't see that. You should not be afraid for flying because then it's not a good experience. But for me,
I know I've been on some of those small planes because flying at the time flying with the airplane from out Danville when they still had the little airports, you know, and a lot of the places, a lot of the small airports have closed now. But I remember flying from Danville, Virginia, you know, to get back to New York or to fly to Chicago. We had those smaller planes, and that was quite an experience because they were little planes, and then I've been a couple of times on the real small planes, and that was you should not be afraid to fly, definitely,
because it is like you're flying, right? For me, it's
right.
A liberating feeling. I think it was one of the most happy feelings I had in my life, especially because it was so beautiful that the sun went down, you know, and the colors in the sky, and it made me feel like a bird, you know. It made me really feel like a bird. I loved it. Yeah.
Well, okay. So then you went to Virginia for a while to work with these people who take care of their kids. But then at a certain point, you ended up in Tenerife. How did you go from New York to Virginia to LA to end up in Tenerife? That's quite a hop, skip, and a jump.
I know. Well, to tell you the truth, if now somebody knocks on my door and said, I got a job for you in America, I would go. I would say, goodbye, Tenerife, you know? So Tenerife is like my second, but very good choice. And it's the Canary Islands are lovely. They're very beautiful. It's like paradise here. But I went in 1996 on holiday for the first time here. And I didn't see a lot then yet, but I was like, wow, it was Christmas and it was such a nice weather, you know. And I just fell in love with the island. And I already wanted to move here, but somehow, you know, life, it wasn't the time. I really believed that. I believed everything is timing. And it took me a while. In 2017, I finally took the step to come here. I took one suitcase. I think if I go back now, I need 3 suitcases. But then I had one suitcase and I had no idea. I just knew that I just wanted to maybe sing here. I didn't know, maybe temporarily do something different. So I just came here. I had no apartment. I didn't know anybody. I just came, you know, and then.
Did you speak the language?
A little bit. I had in school Spanish, but I didn't pay so much attention because somehow at that moment I was not really,
interested in it.
No, it was at the Mayo, I remember. So I had some basics, but no, I didn't really speak the language. Luckily, here in the South, it's good if you speak Spanish, but for your work, you mostly have to speak English, and in my case, Dutch is really good, or German, you know. So
okay, but so you speak fluent German as well?
Yes, well, I speak Deutsch, yeah, but maybe not fluently, but I speak, and it's actually funny because I'm casted for a German TV series, so it's kind of I need to speak German. But don't really know yet, because they also wanted me to know if I spoke Spanish. So maybe I have to speak a little bit Spanish, and then German. So I know my name of the character,
All right.
of the role, but for the rest I haven't seen the script yet or anything. So I'm in the dark there.
Okay. Well, you never know. I mean, it's always good to be multilingual. I wish I would have learned a few more languages, because I've, traveled a lot as well in my career. German, I can understand quite well, but I don't really speak it, But if I'm there for a couple of days, I'm kind of like able to blend in, knowing what they're saying, because it's very close to the Dutch language, of course. I speak Dutch fluently, of course. But I mean, with an American accent, huh? When you say, like I always say, you can take the boy out of the country, but you can't take the country out of the boy, right?
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. I like that.
So how long have you been in Tenerife now?
Since 2017.
All right.
I'm a resident. And yes. I'm Spanish now. So
you still have a Dutch nationality, but you're just a resident of the, like I have here in Belgium, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot of discounts with traveling and things like that. And we get discounts on all the parks in, entertainment parks. So it's good to be a resident. Yeah.
So you're, as a performer, you mentioned something about, you have this sort of ABBA combination that you do together with a colleague, and your colleague is also from Holland, or is she coming from a different country?
She's from Hungary.
She's from Hungary. Wow. Okay. When you all are communicating with each other, you're speaking in English. I take.
Yes.
I think.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
She speaks good English, so we speak in English. Yes. I don't speak
Okay. So tell us a little bit about your whole thing around the show. You have this ABBA show. Are you performing with a band? Are you working with a tape? You want to tell us some more about that?
Oh gosh, it would be wonderful to play with a band. That would be amazing. I love live music, but no, we have the backing tracks. But we did sing our backing vocals, because she's very good in producing music, because she also writes her own music and everything. So yes, we use backing tracks with our own voices on there, most of it, maybe a few, not most of it is our own voices. And then we go on stage and then we
perform live.
Yes, we perform live. Yeah. Yeah. Our show is a little bit a mix. I like to make it a little bit a mix of the movie, like Mamma Mia, of the musical, and then a tribute. So we're not like try to be really exactly like Agneta and Anifrit. We try to make it our own.
You give your own identity to it, and you make the songs. You take the songs, you give tribute to the songs, but with your own identity to it, right?
Yes.
That's wonderful. And how is the public there? Because I know I've been to Tenerife, I think twice, also to perform with a big band, but that was with New Year's some years ago. And the other time I was there was also actually both times were with bands. So it's very lovely to be in Tenerife. It's a nice place to visit, a very nice place to visit, and the weather. Yeah.
Yes.
That's that hot weather is really cool,
Especially in the winter. I love it in the winter, I think in the winter it's so weird that it's like you're spending Christmas in your bikini on the beach, That's really, I love that. That's really wonderful. But yeah, I like the audience, there's lots of nationalities. This is what I love. I like so much all kind of different cultures. And of course, because we are like one of the highest holiday places in Europe, of course, there's so much nationalities, and I love it. It's from East Europe, West Europe, but also from other countries, and I love it. Yes, I think the audience is really, especially, I must say, the English are the best audience. They're very enthusiastic, and the other cultures are a little bit more reserved.
Okay.
Once we're in the middle of the show, they get warmed up, but it's a little bit harder. The English are from the first song you sing, they're like, yeah.
It could also be because you're singing in English, so it's easier for them to relate to, so they can play a role as well.
Yeah. But I think, I don't know, I think their mentality is more like from the beginning, like, and the others need to warm up a little bit, So, but I like the different cultures a lot.
I've got one more question to ask you before I let you go, which is our theme, and our theme for this particular show is about flow. And my question to you is not only what does flow mean to you, but what does it mean for you?
For me, flow, I love the word flow, actually. I because I had been to America, I introduced it to my friends in Holland, and they were like, flow, what are you talking about? But, so I explained it to them because I was using it a lot. But in that time, I was not so conscious yet. But if I would explain flow now, I think this is our natural being. If we would not think so much, or being our own way, we would be all the time in the flow. I think life should be like in the flow, but we are somehow, because of our fears or insecurities or whatever, we stop the flow, or whenever we think we're not good enough or whatever, and I actually stopped our natural flow. I think life is like a river, and we stopped that river with our own, just what I say, we do it. So for me, flow is happiness, love, connection, light, that all this higher frequencies or whatever. That's for me, flow. I love it. I love it. It's one of my favorite words, flow.
Okay. Well, listen, I love to thank you for coming on the show and sharing your story with me and with the audience. And who knows, maybe we'll see each other one day when you're up this way again, or when I get the opportunity to go to Tenerife.
Yeah.
I'll definitely let you know. We'll get together, make some music. That would be lovely.
That sounds amazing. Yes, I love your voice. I love what you have been doing in your life, So that would be a great opportunity. I love to make some music and create some flow.
And you can show me some of those fancy dance steps of yours.
I will.
All
Thank
right.
you so much, Ed.
All right. Thank you. And a lot of love and positivity your way. Eh?
Same from Tenerife.
Okay. As they say in Spanish, hasta la vista.
Hasta la vista. I think Arnold Schwarzenegger has been using that a lot, right?
Yes. All right. You take care of yourself, and a lot of love to you.
You too. Okay, bye-bye.
This is My Positive Podcast with Eddie C. Well, ladies and gentlemen, my next guest is a very dear buddy of mine. Musically, he actually, I think, saw me perform many years ago when he was still in high school. And according to him, he was saying that because of the performance he saw with me, that he was kind of inspired to go on as a musician, which I take as a very great honor. And anyway, he'll tell you more about himself. Please welcome Mr. Ivo Stuivenberg. Hey, Ivo, how you doing, buddy?
Hello. Yes, Eddie. Yes, I'm doing fine. And you?
I'm doing quite well. I can't complain.
Okay.
Can't complain.
Okay, great.
It's great to see you, man. And always nice to be around you when we're performing this. We always have this positive energy thing. And, unfortunately, we don't get to play as much as we like to, but that'll come back again, I think, in the future.
That will come back. Yeah.
So, Ivo, can you tell my listeners some things about you, because I know, of course, a whole lot about you because of our years working together, especially when we met each other again after about was some 8 years ago when we first had contact again. And you told me the little, the story about your student time, and I was completely blown away to hear that. And made me blush, man.
Yeah, it's really true, because I was then born in Rotterdam, but as a little baby, my parents went to Brabant, that's in the south of Holland, close to Belgium, and my father and my uncle they built a camping, which is still working. The camp is still going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then I grew up in Brabant, in a little village in the neighborhood of Bergen op Zoom. And then I went to the high school. And yes, there was not much going on in that time in the early 80s in Brabant, And then and then there was some kind of a performance at the school.
Right.
I was about 13, 14 years old. And then there was a black American guy from the United States who sang the blues. And he was lying on the floor. I remember that. And we were all so much touched. And that really that moved me a lot, and to make music. And years later, I met this man again. It was Eddie Conard. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was really because, of course, you are so much from the 80s for me, like Al Jarreau and George Benson. And I listen to these guys every day still. And it's so much inspiring to make music with you, because I feel that music,
Well, those guys were a big influence in my musical, let's say, motivation as well.
Of course, I can hear that.
And I had the honor to not only meet Al but work with him as well. For a television program.
I know,
So that was one of the high points. Actually, I have a photo of him and me sitting on my mantle here in my apartment. And so, that's a great memory. So, Peter, he's gone. He was a real inspiration. Not only for me, but I think for a lot of.
Yeah, I still listen to him every day, every single day. Yes.
Oh, wow.
So that's so nice to work with you. So the music is still alive, We are still alive.
Yeah. And, but this show today is about you, my friend. So I want to know more about, and my listeners as well. We want to know more about how did your whole life take off in the musical direction and become a professional?
Yeah, that is really a little bit funny, because I always wanted to be a musician, and I already started to play for people to perform when I was about 12. I just started to I started to play when I was 8 years old, and then in that time there was a lot of parties going on in Brabant and weddings, and so my father thought, we have some nice parties. Why don't you go and play? And I just started to work really as a professional when I was 12 years old, really.
Wow.
And that time there was a lot of work to do. So I played a couple of times every week. And then later I went to study law, because I'm officially a lawyer. And I graduated in law. And but then I thought, no, that's not what I'm going to do. So that's why I'm really a musician by heart. I really do it because I really love it. And it doesn't pay much money all the time, as you know. But it's not the easiest job to do. But the high points, how you say, the nice things are so great to. And I traveled a lot, met a lot of people like yourself. And I traveled to New York to be a part in the Black gospel scene. I went to Rio de Janeiro to know how the samba, and traveled a lot and met a lot of people, and that is so much inspiring. So after the law study, I knew for sure it's only one thing I'm going to do, that's make music the rest of my life.
Yeah, well, you mentioned some places, some of the places that you traveled. I know in your music there's a lot of Latin influence. And how did that come about? Is that something that you already as a child was interested in?
Yeah, I always had something with rhythm. That's I always liked rhythm and congas and African beats, and and as a piano player, at first I was an organ player really. But later, I heard those Latin American music from Cuba, from the Caribbean islands, and Brazil. Of course, it's different kind of music, but I always liked it. I listened to it a lot, and then I studied a little bit about how that music works and played with the people from over there. That is always the best to do, of course, as you know. To play with the real people, that's the best lesson you can get. And So, and I tried to mix all those influences I had, like the gospel, like Brazilian music, Cuban music, blues, pop, because I started when I was 12 in a band. And we sung nederpop, as it is called. So it's pop music in the Dutch language. But it was a particular style in that time.
Right.
The band Doe Maar, which was the most
Dutch band.
popular band we ever had in Holland. It's like the Beatles, but then in Holland. And that is also a part that lately I have done again, that I write a lot of songs and lyrics in the Dutch language. So I combine the music from all over the world with the Dutch lyrics, which is very, how do you say? It's not very common, but
it's a very particular style. I know we've done some gigs and you've taken a song that normally had English lyrics to it, and you put some Dutch lyrics to it as you were singing and playing your piano, and do it quite well.
I started with translations from the famous songs. It was a homage really to the like the songs of Al Jarreau or Charles Aznavour or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried. Yeah, it would be funny to do this in Dutch. Yeah, it's not possible. It doesn't sound very. I thought it wouldn't work out anyway. Right. But then I found a way that sometimes it works out, and I played it for people, and they actually liked it. Mm-hmm. And then I did it in a competition in Belgium a couple of years ago to try out these songs. There were translations from well-known American or French songs, and I did them in Dutch. Let's see how the Belgians, they're really critical of maybe how they like it, but they actually liked it. So I won the competition, and so I started to really write my own songs. Mm-hmm. I write a song almost every day. I'm writing. It's so fun to do. So I combine all those musical influence. I listen to music from all over the world, and then I try to find a lyric in Dutch with a nice sound, which is not always so easy in our language. But so that's the challenge.
Yeah, well, you do a great job. Like I said, I've heard you. Not only we've done gigs together where you. Done some of those songs, and it works quite well with the public, especially when it's a full Dutch public or Flemish public. It works quite well. Yeah. But you're also a fantastic pianist and jazz pianist, and you have a couple of groups. I know one of your groups is called Brajazol, which is I play in sometimes with you, and that's always a fun gig because that's in the jazz circuit for the large part. Tell our listeners a little bit more about that, how that group got started.
In that project, I try to combine, like we talked before, like my Latin American influences in the piano playing, Brazilian influence, but I really like to combine them with American influences, jazz and blues and soul. So that's why I like you very much to participate in this project, because you know how to play all those styles, and you sing, of course, the great American soul and jazz. You have, and that's why that was the combination I was looking for all the time. So because I like to mix things up to put things a little bit out of the ordinary, out of the usual. And that it tries to to put that in one name, but it's not possible. Braja Soul is Brazil, jazz, soul, but it's more than that. It's also Cuba, France. I combine a lot of styles and really try to combine them in one song, in one.
It's quite a coincidence because you have your Brajazzol, and I have, of course, my company name, which is called Jazzol Music, which is basically based on the same thing, jazz, pop, soul, Latin. Yeah. And so it's funny when we were talking about the names. I said, "Wow, names are pretty close to each other." Only you have yours with a double Z, and I just use the one Z, in the.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Well, outside of that, you're teaching at a music school. I think
it's my own music school. There is no school, so it's my own because I have my own methods and my own way of working.
All right.
Because I don't work too much with notes and reading music. No. Even if somebody starts with me, even if it's 5-year-old, I say, what do you want to play? What is the music you like the most? Okay. And that's what we're going to do right away. So, and of course they learn the theory and the techniques, but they're doing exactly what they actually like. And that's why they make a big progress usually And,
well, that's always the key, man. You have to do what you like. And when you do what you like and enjoy, you're going to definitely, progress quite fast because it's coming from out the heart. That's always been my concept.
But it's not so easy to a lot of that they can come with every song they want, and we're going to play it. So I, as a teacher, have to be able, of course, to listen to it, so that is not so easy. But usually, they come with songs that they hear on the radio or Spotify or whatever. But I also learn from that because they come with music from South Korea or from, I don't know, never heard of it. And so I learn also by that. And sometimes the children really listen to some nice stuff from the 70s or 80s or that I even don't know. And I try to challenge them to listen to other stuff too,
Right.
For me, that's the most important thing, even for myself, to always listen to what is going on, and that inspires.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, but that's wonderful that you're able to take your own technique and in your music school and create a different approach for kids, because I think it's going to be more personal as well, because it gives each kid the idea that they have their own personal way of learning. Because
of course.
Because of it.
And all my lessons are very different from each other. With everybody, I do really different stuff and things in a different way.
That's quite a unique approach. That's very nice. Because you used to work at a music school for a while.
No, not really.
I thought that you said that you...
Yeah, I call it a music school, but it's my own musical school. It's Ivo's piano school.
Okay, all right, okay. So, but you never did any teaching at some of the other schools beforehand?
No, not on a regular basis, no.
Okay.
I always did my own thing in my playing, but also in my teaching.
Okay.
So people like it or they don't like it, and sometimes it happens too. No, okay, that's okay too. You know.
Right.
Usually, when we meet, we right away know if it's going to work out or not. That's okay.
Well, what are some of the other projects that you're doing outside of Brajazzol and your teaching? What else are you doing at the moment?
Yeah, the most for me is the Brajazzol. It's like the international part, and I have what I call NL Soul. We talked about that. Mm-hmm. That is writing my own songs. For me, at this moment, is of course very much important because, like we for about 2 years we were almost not able to play anymore as a musician.
Yeah.
And so I do try to make a lot at home and writing a lot that's the main things I do. And what I always do and have done is play black gospel music. I do that for 25 years with some great singers here.
You want to tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, we come everywhere. So it can be in a prison, or like for the children that have difficulties at school. And the day after, we're at television, national television, or in the Johan Cruyff Arena, some big things, you know. And the day after that, we play for just 3 people in somewhere in a school or in a prison or we come everywhere to let the people feel how music and can make you happy. And it's very important in these times.
You got to touch the souls, as they say. Music is a great way to touch a person's soul. For sure. You know, for sure. Now, I know from what you told me before, you know, you used to work a lot with female singers, and I know in that way you kind of like there was sometimes a romantic thing involved in the process as well. And I remember that had quite a big influence in different times of your life. And nowadays you have now a new lady in your life that I know she's very nice.
The new lady in my life. And she's also a singer, piano player, and composer. So, yeah, that is really... I always have been thinking in my life, you know, like, would there somewhere be a female... which is a bit like me. You know?
So a female version of you.
Female version of myself. And people say, that's thick. But that's not what I mean. I mean, not really.
I'm teasing you.
And then, all of a sudden, after all these years, you met somebody who has been to Brazil for many years, like me, who does composing, singing, and professionally, and So we talk a lot about that, of course, all the time, and we can help each other a lot with. So that's a new experience.
But how did you all meet? How did you all meet?
That was like a coincidence, but for me, coincidence doesn't exist. It's difficult to translate this, but in Dutch we say toeval, toeval. Coincidence. Right. And then you say, nee, it's geen toeval, het valt je toe.
Okay.
It falls upon you. It's like that. So things, if you're open to it alive, you know, then things happen. And for us both, it felt like that.
The powers that be brought you together.
We met in a bar. Usually we don't go to a bar.
All right.
And she does, and me neither. And then all of a sudden we meet there. And then... Were
you performing or was she performing?
No, not at all. No.
Oh, wow. Okay. So it was just at a bar going for a drink.
It was really like a coincidence. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like you said, they're people you meet. You meet people for a reason, for a season, or for a lifetime.
Yeah.
That's, you know.
Yeah, like us too. You know, I'm very much happy that after all these years we meet, and maybe at that point it was my time to meet you and to be able to play with you and work with you. You know, and
right.
It is,
Well, I mean, it's really great because I met your girlfriend and she's very, very nice and completes your whole package. If I see the two of you guys together, it's really sweet to see that, man.
Yeah.
And she's a fantastic singer.
She's a fantastic singer. She's really involved in Brazilian music. She has lived there for 7 years. She has lived between the Indians to really understand this music. And so she really knows what it's all about in that music. And that's really great, of course, for a Dutch person to really know all the repertoire and all the singers and all the styles. And that is really, and she's really, how do you say, devoted. And I like that. I'm also like that, you know.
Yeah, that's that.
I really like to go, to do things serious. And so, of course, we're going to work also together. But right. we put it a little easy. But now I also write some duets maybe. So maybe we're going to do work,
Yeah, I can hear your voice. She's a very warm voice. So it's very easy to blend with male vocalists.
Yeah, she always sings very, how do you say, clear, zuiver. in tune.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah. Like yourself. So it's easy for me to work with. That helps, you know.
I hate auto pitch, man. I tell you. Sometimes technically you need to do it for a few things here and there, but basically, I'm an old school cat when it comes to that.
Yeah, you're also old school, and I like that. You know, that you really do your homework. You really know what it's all about, and that's also where I come from. The 80s, the 70s. It's not like landing backward. No, it's like, we like to work. Also on a song, I work day in, day out to make a song more beautiful or better.
Right.
And it's not the modern style, but it is my style. It's the old style.
Oh, Ivo Stuivenberg style. That's what you call it. Your parents have also played a major role in your supporting you in your career, because I know a lot of times when I've performed with you that they're always there, and that's wonderful to see.
There. That's true. Yeah. Yeah, because when I started to play, like I told you, when I was about 12, my father always brought me to all the gigs, and he brought me and collected me, and we were carrying stuff, because in that time we didn't have the synthesizers. So it was a big organ. It was impossible to carry with big speakers. And we were like, Yeah, so he was always there on the performances, and my mother too. And I'm very much happy that they're still around. And I hope we get to play very soon again for people and performance. And so
that's really fantastic. That's really fantastic. And I know your dad really enjoys it, and your mom as well. I always when they're at a performance, you can just see them just gleaming and very proud of you. I know that. Which is a wonderful thing. Do your parents? They never played themselves any music?
Not really, no. But my mother, she listened to people like Miles Davis, Jimmy Smith. And so they don't play, but when I started to play, we sometimes listen to Errol Garner or to, so they always how do you say that
they had the influences, they had the influences,
they always I cannot find the word, they always
they support you. They're always
support.
That I know. And your dad your dad is not only supporting you in that way, but he's also your driver most of the time.
He used to be, he used to be, for many years.
So because you don't have a driver's license, right?
No, I don't have a driver license. A musician without a driver license. That's really...
and a pianist, keyboard player.
I almost never lost a gig.
Well, that's wonderful, man. That's wonderful. And does
because in Holland you can do traveling by train and by there's always a way to find a solution.
In the small countries, that's true. That's true too. Well, listen, we're getting close to the last question, which is our theme. And it's about flow. And my question to you is, what does flow mean to you? But I also want to know what it means for you as well.
Yeah, that is flow. Yeah, I don't really know what it means, but for me, the flow is the way that we make music, Eddie. Huh? Because we played together many times, and we never rehearsed. I think we never. That is flow, And I learned it through the music, like the gospel music that I also do with people. Sometimes I don't even know what song we're gonna do, which song we're gonna do, or what key it is in, or whatever. And then and they call it the spirit, huh? In the gospel we call it the spirit. So you just let it. I think that's what you mean, huh? You just let it happen. And the funny thing is that what I learned in the music, through the music, I now do in my whole life. So I do everything by the flow. So I don't try to worry about corona or whatever is happening, because you can worry night and day if you want, and it's not going to solve anything.
That's true.
So for me, it's like I try to live as I also make music, and For me, that's the flow.
So that's a wonderful thing.
And I cook also in this way nowadays.
All right.
I cook because I don't know what I'm buying. Sometimes the ingredients, they come from all over the world, like I make music too. And then I throw them in the pan, and then let's hope that it's going to be a nice meal. And
let's hope that
flow.
Yeah, so let's hope that it doesn't become a different kind of flow.
Yeah, but it usually works out. Now, 9 out of 10, it's great.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, well, I like to cook like that. You cook with your senses, and you make music with your senses.
Your senses. That is for me the flow, your instinct, your sense.
And of course, you got a wonderful support group around you with your parents, with your girlfriend.
Yeah.
And the fact that you guys are able to spend, because you had to spend some time separately for quite a while during Corona, because she was in Portugal at one point.
Yeah, she has been in Portugal for half a year. Yeah,
and you were here.
Yeah, that was a difficult time, Corona, because no performances, and she just built up a career in the Brazilian music, and no performances. I had my teaching, so I could survive anyway with the money. But we like to play and to perform for people, and that gives energy, and that we want to share the energy, of course. And also for the audience, it's terrible not to have concerts anymore. And so I hope the world opens up now very soon, because the world needs it. We all need it.
You can't take, if you take away the music, you take away the heart and soul of what's happening. Yeah. Because everything, and for me, flow is everything in movement. The way the grass grows, the way the sky travels, it's all connected together. And music is one of those elements. The people that are involved in our lives and stuff, that's all for me is a part of a flow. You're waking up in the morning and going to sleep. There's always some kind of flow that you kind of portray in your life. And that, as the days go by, becomes a general flow for you and a guideline for you to continue. And for all positivity is most important. Waking up with that positive mind and going to sleep with a positive mind, because if you can find...
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah, well, I'm going to tell it like it is, man.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. But it takes a few years to discover these things, Eddie.
Yeah, it takes some years. Maybe. It takes some years to discover.
Yeah, for me it took a couple of years. Yeah, of course.
But it's the experiences that you go through, and of course, as you get older, you start to discover those things more and more. And speaking on that, is there some advice you would like to give young people about how to find their flow?
Yeah, that is what I just told. Listen to your instincts and listen to your heart. Especially not what other people might say or do say, or the television that makes us fear everything around us, or there's a lot of going on in the social media nowadays. A lot of negativity, a lot of fear, hate, anger. Yeah, just get away from that. And it's difficult enough to listen to your heart and to try to do something positive in this world, whatever it is. For us, it's making music. It's a nice job. But there's so many good things to do in this world. But listen to your heart, listen to well, like I just said, and to your instincts, that's also very important. Sometimes you feel, I shouldn't go that way, and then your mind starts, but. Yeah. It's like Stevie Wonder sang about very superstitious. It's a little bit that, it's always the mind that makes us try to take the wrong way, and don't listen to that. Especially nowadays, there's a lot of drugs going on, even in this country. It's incredible what is happening. So stay away from all that, and because it's not necessary. There is still a lot of good things going on, and to live, and watch a little bit less to the television and to the media and stuff like that. Maybe that's a good advice. Put your telephone away sometimes and your television, and and meet people. Yeah.
Go back to the natural basics, man, and most of all, respect.
Respect.
Most of all, respect, because that's something. Respect for yourself and respect for others. That's the most important. One of the most important elements, I think, which is what we seem to be losing because of a lot of the social media. Of course, it has its good sides because it brings us together to do this interview, for example. But on there are downsides where we've created in certain ways a sort of individualistic society because everybody is able to just drown themselves in their own little bubble. But don't forget the human element is the most important thing.
The human element. They should write a song about that, Eddie.
I actually did that.
Yeah,
it's the title of one of my albums.
I always love to play that song. So
yeah. Well, Ivo, it has been a pleasure as always. You know, whether we're making music together or sitting and talking, it's always fantastic. Yeah. Absolutely. And, I know we're not living that far from each other. And in Holland, the situation is a little bit different than it is here in Belgium. We have a little bit more slack as far as the corona rules are concerned. And they're slowly starting to get that better in Holland. So that's a good thing. And, who knows, maybe in the next couple of months, we'll be able to get out there and make some nice music, whether it's...
Oh, yes. I'm looking very much forward to that. Yeah. But you look great, Eddie. Somehow you look better and better and better. I don't know what you're doing, but you take very good care of yourself. So that's important. Yeah.
Positive lifestyle, buddy. Yeah. That's what it's all about, man.
Yeah.
Just having a positive lifestyle. That's what it's about. Not worrying about things that have to come or wake up in the morning. I'm always grateful every day I wake up. I'm even when the weather is bad, if it's raining or I'm not going to take that as a negative thing. I say, well, okay, it's raining. Maybe I should get out there and walk in that rain and appreciate the fact that, the plants are getting water and that I'm able to see that every day is a gift. Every day is a gift, and this is a gift, being able to see and talk to you again, man, and touch base. And eventually we'll get to make some more music together. So all of the little things, man, what we put in our body, how we think, how we feel, the people that we surround ourselves with. For me, that's all about flow. And a positive flow is the most important thing one can have to prosper.
Amen, life, Eddie. Yeah. What a wisdom. Wow. Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
well,
me too.
I'm learning every day. Well, listen, I'd like to thank you so much. Please give my best regards to
Margie.
I give my best regards to her and of course to your parents.
My parents. Yes.
Give them all three of them a big hug for me, and we will definitely see each other very soon in the near future.
See each other soon. I'm looking forward to it, Eddie. Yeah.
All right.
It always makes me happy to see you and hear you, and makes me always smile. So.
All right. I know that you got a lesson coming up soon, so you have to drive.
I have some working to do sometimes. Yeah.
Well, I always say it's like working on your hobby. That's what it is.
Yeah. I worked once on a cruise ship, and then I was talking with some of the people working there, and what kind of work do you do? I'm the musician. So music is not work, they say, but it is work.
Yeah.
But we do it with our heart. But
I always say it's working our pump of joy. That's what I call it.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
All right. Well, you take very good care of yourself, man, and definitely, and man, and a lot of love to you all there. Okay.
Yeah, you too, Eddie. Very nice to see and hear and speak to you again. Okay. Yes, to you too, Eddie.
All righty.
And see you soon.
All right. Take care, buddy. All right. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
This is My Positive Podcast with Eddie C. Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, I'm back with my next guest, and she's a very dear friend of mine. I worked with her husband for years on recordings. He's a fantastic guitarist, and it was back in the days when we were all a lot younger, although if I see her now, she hasn't changed a bit. Please welcome my next guest, Miss Petra Beckers.
Hello, Eddie. Nice to talk to you. Very nice.
How are you? It's been...
I'm fine. I had a weekend with photo shoot, so I was really tired, but now seeing you makes me feel much better.
Oh, wow. Okay. That makes my day.
Yeah, well, old friend, it's always nice, or not?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. I remember those days as coming to see you all in Germany with the band, and, you preparing lunch and everything for everybody while we were playing. It was a wonderful, wonderful time. Nice memories. And a lot has changed. And now you guys have moved to Amsterdam now, and you're living there, and you've taken a whole new career on, which we'll hear about later on in our interview. But, can you tell my listeners, of course, I know a lot about you, but my listeners don't. So can you give my listeners a little bit of background about you, where you're originally from, and in fact, how you ended up in Amsterdam?
Yeah. So I was born in Germany, really in the industrial part of Germany, right in the middle in Essen, which at that time was full with coal mining. And I am not coming from a rich family, so I did not grow up in the rich parts of the Ruhrgebiet in Germany. But I didn't know any better, and I liked it. What I had, also when I was very young, I always knew that I wanted to see the world, and that I wanted to go out of the place where I grew up. Not that I hated the place, but I thought there must be more. And I was always interested in art and in literature, which was not a topic in our family. So they were they were workers. So I don't know where that comes from, but it was there. Maybe it's our generation also. So I went to an art school when I was 17, and I had the intention to become an artist. But instead of becoming an artist, I became pregnant when I was 17.
Well, that's art as well. A different kind of art, but it is art.
And I'm still with the father of my daughter. That's Chris Beckers, the guitar player you mentioned. And that's from where I know you. And he made music at that time already. And even though I was very young, I was sure if I want to stay with that man, I must make it possible that he can stay with his music. So I don't know where it came from that I was so wise to realize that.
Right.
And it was not hard for me to do that decision because I really love music. I'm not a musician, but maybe I have a musician's heart, and I love musicians, and it was the life that I wanted. So I said, you can always stay with your music, and I will not claim anything from you.
Right.
And that was how we did our role. And I said, well, one artist in the family is enough. Mm-hmm. So I decided to do something different. And I had to leave the art school. That was that in these times. Had a rock and roll life, had jobs that survived. I worked in places where I would not want to have my daughter or my granddaughter to work, with drug addicts, and I had a gun in my pocket because there were really crazy people among that. I never had anything with drugs. I was really clean all my life. I do not even drink alcohol. But that was a place where I got a little bit more money than in other places.
Right.
So this is how we did it. This is how we started. Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm very proud that we are still together.
Well, Chris is a great guy. We always had a wonderful time working together, and it's always nice to see and talk with him, and it's very talented musician and technician as well.
Yeah, and I could develop my creative side together with him. He was making music. After a while, I realized that I was quite good in what you call promotion. So that's not much more than selling. I realized I can sell. So I did the promotion for him. I went to all the radio stations and TV stations in Germany, introduced his music when he had an album out. And at that time, you really could live from that. That's a long time ago. No musician can do that anymore now. No. But at that time, we really could make a living out of his music, even though it is not a commercial music, it is instrumental music. But they used it a lot for films or as trailers. And also in Germany, you have programs for jazz and where he played his music on regular basis.
Yeah, well, there was some great times, really great times.
Yeah, and when he had his albums out, he recorded it at home. We had a recording studio in our sleeping room. I think you know that.
I know that studio. Yeah.
You were there.
I've been there. Yes.
So we had no sleeping room. The sleeping room was the recording room, and we slept in another room, which was tiny, just big enough to have our bed in it, and our daughter had a better room than we had for our sleeping room. And yeah, I enjoyed it. All the musicians coming to our home. And as you said, I was cooking for them. And when Chris had a live gig, I tried to be there too.
Absolutely.
And that was a really good time that we had.
Yeah, those were wonderful times. And yes. That was actually one of the questions. Was you spent a lot of time supporting him and being there, almost more or less like an extra member of the band, in fact. But you were like the silent band member who was regulating everything for all of us. I remember a long time ago you did mention something about the artwork, but one of the things I always admired about you was that your opinion was very important to the band. If we played something, I remember if Chris had a composition, he was always kind of like, "What do you guys think?" And everybody would say, "Well, this, and that." But if Peter had something to say, everybody had to listen to that. Yeah, you had a silent influence, but it was really? Always there.
Yeah,
you know?
I didn't realize that. That's funny.
And I know we all had the biggest respect for you, and still do for because you were that silent, like I said, you were that silent band member that nobody actually knew about. But if it wasn't for you, a lot of things wouldn't have happened, especially for us as a band at that time. And I know for Chris as well, Chris is always the shy, reserved type. But I know you were always like his right hand when it came to getting things done,
I tried my best, really, but that was my love for the music also. Not only the love for Chris, but really the love for music. I knew it when I was 7. I heard the Beatles and I saw the guys with the long hair and I loved that. And I said, when I'm grown up and when I'm going to marry, my husband has to be a musician and I want a man with dark hair. So that's what I got. Really, it's not a joke. Okay. That was what I said.
All right, fantastic. And so now, of course, we're many years further, and your guys are living in Amsterdam. How did that come about?
We went to a small place. I came from a big city, but we went to a small place in the northern part of Germany because of a band where Chris played, a blues band, backwater blues band. And we have been living there for 20 years. We thought that it would be for a shorter period, but our daughter grew up. She had to go to school. And once you have a child going to school, we felt the responsibility to stay there. We tried to move once to Holland, but our daughter was so upset to leave all her friends at school behind. So we said, no, we have first we have to finish this job with our daughter, and then let's see what the future brings. And she left home when she was 20. She went for studies to Amsterdam. She said she studied fashion design, and she said, I would like to study in Amsterdam. And there was what they say, open dag in Amsterdam. And Chris said, yeah, if you go there, I go with you. Day,
yeah.
So they both went to Amsterdam to this open dag at the University of Amsterdam. And he came back in the evening and he said, I want to go back to Amsterdam. He grew up here. He came from here. But we met in Germany in the Ruhrgebiet and we stayed there since from then on until 1996. And he came back and he said, yeah, I want to go back to Amsterdam. And I said, okay, then let's do that. Because I always said, I don't want to be the stumble block in his musical career. So that's how we did it. And it was difficult because we had a studio in Germany. We dismantled the studio. We went to Holland with not very much money. We had a Mercedes-Benz at that time.
Yeah, I know. Chris was always a Mercedes driver.
Yeah. We had the idea, okay, we built the studio there. We sell the Mercedes-Benz, and then we can live from that money for a while. But the Mercedes was stolen.
Oh my God.
Just the first week that we went here. And 2 weeks earlier, before we went to Holland, we canceled the all risk. So the money was gone.
Oh, wow.
We had a few savings, but after 6 months, we really ran out of money.
Speaking of Murphy's Law.
Yeah. And that was how it happened. Car stolen. Our plans had to be changed. But there was no plan B. So what to do? I was looking for a job then.
Okay, so you've always been a very resourceful person, and Chris as well. And so you went from practically going completely bankrupt, and then you got this job that I remember you mentioned. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. We have this, you call it uitzendbureaus, job agencies. I went there and said, I need a job. And they saw and they heard that I'm German. Yeah, they heard it in my accent. And they said, we have something. Here's an American company. They are selling their products here in Europe, and they are looking for someone for the German-speaking market, like Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. And then I heard this word thermocouple for the first time in my life. I had no idea what a thermocouple is, but I needed a job. So I said I would like to go there and have a word with the owners. And then I found out when I was there that a thermocouple is something that you need to read the temperature wherever it is. In that case, it was in molten metals because these products were for foundries. And we needed the money so much that I said to the guy, I even know how it smells because I'm coming from the industrial part of Germany, and I really got the job. And I went.
That's great.
I went out because I was in sales then, and became successful. And it was Chris' idea after a couple of years because I was the worst paid manager in the whole company worldwide. And Chris said, you can do that on your own. And I said, I cannot do it on my own. He said, yes, why not? That's what you are doing now. And the whole office is running on your sales. And I had to think about it 3 days. And then I thought, he's right. So I was looking for some products that I could sell. I was known in the industry because I was the only woman. It's really a male industry. I got the products and I started. And that really became a success. But that made me leave the music industry. And in the beginning, I found that really difficult. It was not easy for me.
Okay, I can imagine. You have your company now, and you still have your company?
No,
oh, okay.
I sold it in 2016. So I have been in that industry for 22 years. Mm-hmm. I was successful. I can really say I made a good amount of money on that. But you become older, and money is not all in life.
Absolutely.
And I mentioned I went to an art school and I was young and I had to leave it because I became pregnant. And I had a hobby all my life that was photography. My first, what is a Spiegelreflex in English? I don't know the word.
Mirror.
That I had that in 1980.
Full frame.
Yeah. Yes. So And I kept saying, I would like to study photography one day. And there came a day that someone said to me, Petra, you always say it. So why don't you do that? And I said, I cannot do that. I have the company.
Right.
And he said, why not? Maybe you need to make some changes. And that made me thinking. And I said, yeah, they are right. It's time to stop. So that's what I did.
Okay.
Was looking for someone who was interested in my company, could sell it to a German company, had to keep on working there for 3 years. But while I was working there, I already started at the Fotofachschool, this University of Applied Photography here in Amsterdam. And I graduated after 3 years of study this year in June. So this is how it went.
All right. Fantastic. Yeah, congratulations on that.
Thank you very much.
You make some very beautiful work, which we'll get into in a few minutes. But going back into this job, you sold your company and you went full-time photography.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. And in the meantime, Chris was still making his music because with
Chris is, I must say, when we had the company, he really helped me. You know, music does not start at 7:00 in the morning. So what he did every day, he went to the office with me. When I started, he said, I may make the packages for you. Yeah, that were 2 packages per week. In the end, it were 20 or 30 per day. So,
oh, wow.
There came a moment that I said, Chris, I have to find someone for that because he still made his music. So he left at lunchtime, went to his studio, was from that time on and until the evening busy with his music. But he really helped me to build up the company. And we had that typical Amsterdam life, like many people here do. You come home from work at maybe 10:00 in the evening. No one did some shopping, so the refrigerator was empty. Many times we were sitting in a restaurant at 12:30 at night to have a little
small
dinner, let's say.
Right.
And we did that for many years. And obviously, after 22 years, I thought it has to stop. I had a very nice apartment we had here, and I had a beautiful kitchen where we lived there. I have been living there for 6 years, but I think it was 5 or 6 times that I cooked a meal in that kitchen.
Wow.
And that's a pity.
Right.
I mean, it was okay to live that life.
And you're a great cook, because I remember some of the dishes.
Thank you. I do that now. Again, I promise Chris, once I stop working, I will restart cooking and making the German Kuchen, you know, the cakes.
Yeah,
he loves that. So,
yeah, I know. Yeah, so did I.
And I kept my promise. So, yeah.
Great. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, now you got your diploma for your photography and from the university, and I saw some of your work. I wanted to come up and see it, live, but of course, because of the corona rules we've had, it was hard to travel and get up that way. And at one point, we were able to start making music again down here. And so with my gigs, it was hard to come up sometimes. But you make some amazing work once again. And your street photography is also something I'm very interested as well. You've seen some of my stuff. I'm still learning. Every day is a new day to learn more stuff, But I really love the work that you're doing. And
thank you.
The shots that you make are, being in Amsterdam is a wonderful city. Photography, period, especially if you're going to do street photography. I have it also, of course, with Antwerp. When you started doing your photography, did you bring back your drawing technique that you had when you're looking through your camera? Because every photographer has their sort of approach to photography. With me, I look at the the aperture and the shutter time and the lighting. I look at that like that triangle. I see that like a musical triangle. You've got your basic track and you've got then the overdubs and everything. So I approach it in a musical kind of way. Do you approach that like you did with your drawing school? Or?
I'm attracted by light. I really see light and colors. So sometimes I'm just going to the supermarket and come along at a place and see a certain light, and then I think, this is a place where you want to take some pictures one day. And very often I immediately have an idea. And sometimes it takes 6, 7 times that I have to go there until I really have the shot that I already had in my mind.
All right.
And people say, oh, lucky shot. And I said, I have been there for 7 times and with different camera lenses. And so, it is the atmosphere. And what I love is a filmic atmosphere in my street photography. That's what attracts me. So I'm really an admirer of Ed van der Elsken, for example. Maybe your listeners know that Dutch photographer. His black and white photography with portraits and people on it. And I also shoot people from time to time, but not in a way he does, because nowadays you cannot do anything with that photo unless you have the permission from the person on the photo to publish it. That is one reason, but the other reason is that I don't know where it came from, but I had a certain vision in my mind how I like street photography. And during my study, I came across two photographers. One was Saul Leitner, and the other one is William Eggleston. And I saw both of them. I photographed like they did, but I didn't know them, so I'm not copying it. But that's my way how to do it. So I was really diving into their work, and that was so nice for me to see that I'm on the right way, that it does not have to be like Ed van der Elsken with people on it. It can be totally different. And both can be absolutely next to each other. And my photos are mostly colorful.
Right.
Yeah, that's how I love it. And maybe it comes from the paintings, indeed.
Sort of a subconscious kind of thing that you have, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I grew up with pop art, and maybe that's what you see back in my photos, the pop art.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I was going to say that, yeah.
And I was very much inspired by Van Gogh. I visited, after the first lockdown, I went to the Van Gogh Museum. I did not go there for 20 years at least, because with all the tourists, you do not see anything because there are 50 people in front of you while you want to see the sunflowers. And after the first lockdown, it was empty there. So I went there, and really, I was so touched by his art to see it face to face.
Exactly.
And live in a very quiet room. And at that moment, the idea grew up in my head to do a still life series based on what I saw from Van Gogh. So I went to the Van Gogh Museum several times, and then I studied his colors, and you learn it's not 100% yellow that he's using. And so I really was diving into it, and I made a still life series where the colors and everything is based on Van Gogh. It's inspired by Van Gogh, but I tried not to copy him. And also that is really colorful. But what I did there.
And now that you mention it, I think about some of the shots that you've posted on your social media. I can see that coming back in now, which is nice. It's nice to discover that's where you're getting that from. You know, wow. I know you mentioned something about your light. With me, for example, I'm more of a composition guy. A light is important for me, but I know that. I like to shoot without a flash, but I also like the composition. Like if I see a particular shot, whether it's with people or without people, it needs to kind of like say a little story with me. Of course, I post every day on my social media a picture with a quote or something I have on my mind at that time that I want to kind of throw out to people. But I look at the kind of composition because for me, photography is like that silent reading book. I'm not a big book reader. So if the picture can tell me something without me having to read words around it or about it, then that's cool for me. And so I can imagine that. I'm also a big fan of Curry, you know, his artwork and how he captures eyes are like with him. The way he captures a person's eyes are fantastic, you know.
But I totally agree with you that composition is really important. But I think I do it from an intuition. And I went to art school. I learned that, of course. That was part of the study that I did there. So maybe it's what I've learned many years ago, and it's still in my mind. So when I look through the camera, I really compose it. And I have used analog cameras for more than 20 years, maybe 30 years. And I still take pictures like an analog photographer. Not 2,000 photos or so. No, I really compose it while I'm looking through it. And of course, there are sometimes situations where you take more pictures in a row, if something is happening outside. How do you call it? Let's say 12 pictures per second or so, but it's not what I really like. I really look through
I'm the same way. For me, I just like to look. That's the moment. Boom, shoot it. That's it.
Yes. Yeah. And at the moment it's not there, you go there again. Do you do the same?
I've been there. When I've gone around the town, like if I walk through the city, especially during the time that we had the lockdown. I mean, Antwerp was just one big ghost town, and it was beautiful at different times of the day to take a walk at different spots and just capture a shot of it then and then later. And actually, I've got shots that I've taken from that period. I want to maybe next year do like a small exhibition together with a few other colleagues somewhere here and to show those pictures, and so for me, the whole COVID thing was actually an eye opener as a photographer. And because it gave me the space and the room to discover my surroundings, which normally you go home and you go into your house or you're going out and you don't really, and on top of that, because I wasn't allowed to play music. My camera was one of my best friends at that time, just to put it in my pocket and go and just capture those moments,
Yes, yeah. Well, I have 3 series from lockdowns: Lockdown 1, Lockdown 2, and the curfew that we had. And I remember I was standing here in my house, looked out. We really live downtown, so I could see the change. Suddenly everything was empty, and I was so curious. How does it feel outside? And I thought, it's a pity that I was forced to stay in. I was not allowed to go out on the streets after 9:00. So I made sure that I had got the necessary paper, and I made that my graduation series about the curfew. And I went out on 16 evenings in that time, in a completely empty Amsterdam. The first night I went out, I was so overwhelmed. I think I took 2 photos, not more. The impression of this empty town was so overwhelming.
Right.
And it was, on one side, it was very sad. What happened there, it was a tough time for everyone.
Right.
But it was also exciting and thrilling, I must admit. And I was the only one out there.
I remember seeing animals that you normally would not see in town all of a sudden, on the streets coming in. And there was a certain ghostly, but at the same time, pleasant feeling around the whole, which I know a lot of people got very depressed in that time, but it was a time to do some mind searching for yourself and just rediscovering your surroundings from a whole different perspective.
Yeah, I remember that at that time with the lockdowns and later with the curfew, and that was my last year of the studies, and some of my classmates, they really had problems with it because they said, we had that and that idea and now we cannot realize it. And I thought, go and have a look. What is this opportunity? Make that Absolutely. Your topic. And
Absolutely.
That's a one in a lifetime chance.
Every disappointment always leads to a new opportunity.
Yeah. So I looked at it in a positive way, and it was very. I'm happy that I had a chance to go out there with my camera and take pictures. And people tell me, you should bring out a book about it. Maybe I will do one day. maybe
this is the moment to start it.
Yeah.
Going back to your photography, just one more time, just a little bit. One question before we get to the last question. On your Instagram, I see a lot of musicians that you've and colleagues, for all female colleagues. You have this sort of series now, sort of like girl power or female power, I guess you want to call it. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, it started from my interest. About my love for music.
Right.
And now about my career in a very male industry. And when I started with my photography study, we had a task. It was free work, and we could do whatever we want. And I thought it would be interesting to take pictures from women in jazz, because that combines the music on one side, and on the other side, I still find definitely jazz music is a male-dominated world. So I was curious to see how these girls and women manage to find their way in the music. So because of Chris, I of course knew some of them, and I contacted a few women, Fedra Quant, for example, a bass player, Hermine Deurlo, chromatic.
Harmonica.
Harmonica. Who else? Many of them. In every case, Kika Spranger, saxophone, Saskia Leroux, trumpet. And that was only for my study. And I posted some of the pictures on Instagram. And someone who has a jazz label here in Holland saw the photos. And he contacted me, John Weyers, and he said, Petra, I'm running around with this idea about a book about women in jazz for a while already, but I never had a photographer. Now I see your photos. Do you think that it is something we could do together? I said, that sounds like a nice idea. And he had a title for it. He said, I even have a name. I call it the Jazz Zussen, the Jazz Sisters.
Right.
Instead of Soul Sisters, Jazz Sisters. And I said, let's do that. So that's what it's still a work in progress.
All right, I'm very curious to see it out, because I mean they're all fantastic musicians. The ones that I know a lot of them because I've worked with a lot of the ladies. And
I know. Yes,
they're fantastic musicians. So whether they were female or not, they're good musicians. So that's wonderful to see that.
And I always get a free concert from them, because I always say, you know what, just play, and I take pictures, and that's really wonderful.
Right.
So they play their instruments, and I have the privilege to be there as the only listener and can do what I like to do. Yeah. So maybe next year summer the book will come out. I hope so.
Okay, well, please keep me posted on that, and then I will also at that time share it to our listeners as well.
Nice.
I got one last question, of course, which is the theme of the show, and the theme is about flow. And I would like to know, what does flow not only mean to you, but for you?
I was thinking about that question, and it's a difficult question. What is flow? The flow for me is that I would say my whole life was in a flow. I had obstacles, but still I find my whole life was in a flow, and I'm still in a flow. Flow is probably that you can do the things you like, and yet you love your life the way you live it, even if it is difficult sometimes. I mean, you are a musician, you know how it is. Sometimes you have money, sometimes you don't.
Right.
Yes, and
most of the time you do.
Yeah. And you have people that you are losing, and we are old enough to know all the ups and downs in lives, and still I can say that I'm very happy with my life. I think I had a good life so far now, to have a few more years, and so maybe that's flow for me, the way I could live my life, and that everyone is healthy around me, and that I'm in contact with creative people, not only musicians, not only photographers, also painters, writers, That's flow for me.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I've been fortunate to see part of your flow, and also with Chris and how his flow is still going, doing the things that he likes to do as well. And it boils down to, at the end of the day, doing the things that make you happy.
Yes, and stay curious.
Yeah,
also
stay curious. Absolutely.
It's maybe also part of the flow. Stay curious about all the things going around.
How would you describe flow in photography?
Flow into photography. Not necessarily a series of photos. I mean, that can be a flow. Yeah. For me, a flow is, I can only say how I would probably experience it. Sometimes I go out on the street and do not find the pictures that I want to make. And I can come home and did not take any picture, or maybe one, and the one that I did is not even good. And sometimes I come home and I have 20 photos of which I think, wow, that they were there at the right time. Maybe that's my flow. You know, there are days that I am in a flow, and on other days I'm not. And when I'm in a flow, I'm never 100% happy with my photos. It can always be better. Maybe you have the same.
Well, yeah, your flow is basically you capturing the moments that are important to you at that moment in your life.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. 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 I couldn't say it any better, Eddie. Really. Yeah. It's great how you describe it. I agree. Yes. Yeah. And how is it for you, flow? What is your flow?
My flow is taking every day that I wake up in the morning and making the best out of it. And those moments, whether they're disappointing or whether they're joyful moments, it's all part of one everlasting flow. And, you know, I said each day when I close my eyes at night, as long as I can say, well, I got a lot out of this day. I feel good about what I did today. Then I'm in my flow. Then I'm
nice.
In my flow.
Yeah. Maybe it's the age that we reached in the meantime. I see it the same way.
Yeah.
When you are younger,
that's true.
You see the world differently. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I have the same. Doesn't matter whether or so. You are there, you are healthy, your loved ones are healthy. Right. You can do the things you love.
Right. Well, look at it like a camera, you know. They always say, you know, a camera is something you date, but a lens is something you keep forever.
Yeah. Yes. Very nice. Very nice quote. Yeah.
You know,
yes.
So.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to thank you so much. It has been such a pleasure to actually have a chance to talk, because most of the time when we've spoken with each other, it was in between gigs and there was this or that, and you were always the quiet one in the scene. And now we've had, after so many years, a chance to really talk about something, and also because we have a lot of common knowledge with the photography thing, and that's real cool to be able to, after so many years, talk about that as well, you know.
Well, Eddie, I can only thank you for your interest. Really, I really appreciate that. And it is nice talking with you, and talking with you about photography is even nicer. and about the life and how we are in life. And I still like to talk about music, or then more it's like listening to the musicians talking about music, because you are the experts. I'm just the consumer.
Well, maybe we should get together with the whole gang once, and you just put the cameras on and just and do something like that, you know.
I can imagine that will happen one day, Eddie.
I'm sure it will.
Yes.
Well, listen, I'm sending a lot of love to you and the family. You know, you give Chris a big hug for me as well. And
thank you.
And thank you so much for coming on. And I really enjoyed our conversation. And
I hope when you have your exposition that you will inform me so that I can come and have a look.
Well, I actually sent you the information via the flyer.
Okay. Yeah.
So you have that, and hopefully we'll get a chance, if you guys are ever, you know, out of Amsterdam and you come down to Antwerp, bring your camera. We'll do some. We'll talk photo stuff.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Take care and keep making those beautiful pictures that you do.
Thank you very much, Eddie. Thanks a lot.
All righty.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye. This is MPP, and I'm Eddie C. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that almost wraps it up for this episode. Wow, I had 3 wonderful conversations with 3 wonderful people once again, and I hope that their stories and their inspiration will touch you as well as they've touched me today. And speaking on those notes, talking just real quickly about flow, it's such a wide subject and a deep subject as well. And I think that everyone has their own flow in life. Of course, you have to find the one that's right for you. And if you do that, then I think a lot of things will come your way that you wish for in life. So on those notes, here is my quote. Flow. That moment you awaken to a new day. Feeling aware and fortunate to take on new challenges, new experiences, and exploring your surroundings with a different vision. Making changes or moving to different destinations. Discovering true passions as you get older and wiser, but keeping that childlike enthusiasm and curiosity. Creating that rhythmic flow on your life's journey and closing your eyes at night to look forward to another day. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this episode. But I'd like to thank my 3 guests, Samantha Tel, Ivo Stuivenberg, and Petra Beckers, for coming on and sharing their stories about what flow means to them. And remember, just go with the flow, and it'll always help you get where you want to go. Until next time, you can find me on all platforms like Spotify, Android, and Apple. On Facebook, look for My Positive Podcast, and my website is mypositivepodcast.com. You can also contact me via my website or Facebook. A very special thanks to my technical producer, Iswan. This show is a production by Antwerp Podcast Service. My name is Eddie C., and this was MPP, My Positive Podcast. Tune in next week and stay positive.